Hi everyone, so I'm back at the barn today. It's been a week away. Last week I had a buddy of mine that I met when I was travelling actually. I met him on a bus in America, I think it was, on our way to an airport. We've been friends ever since. And he was down last week giving us a hand, getting some tyres packed, building this that you can see behind us. And there's a lot more to go. Good hair. And yeah, the next video will be a little rundown of what we got done whilst he was here. So we're clearing the patch for the yurt to go in. Luckily we've already got all this plastic down to kill the weeds for where we were going to grow veg, but that plans have changed slightly now, and the veg is all going to be grown over here. This section is going to have the yurt on it, but we've got about 1/4 of an acre of nettles to clear first. I've done this little tiny patch here already. We bought ourselves a strimmer this morning. It's the very basic one, but we could do with a more expensive one, but it'll do the job, and hopefully the nettles will never get this out of hand again anyway, so we shouldn't need anything too heavy duty down the line. I've got my mate Steve here today, over there burning away, getting through the firewood, the rubbish wood that we've been separating that's full of woodworm out of the barn. That's going burned, and we're going to try and get as many of these nettles on there as possible, hence the smoke. Okay, so hopefully you can get a sense of the depth here because it's all green, but this area in front of me, you can see all these, where was my thumb? All these nettle stalks still poking out, so we're going to have to come back through and get those. But when we started, the nettles are about 4 to 5 foot, and we've managed to clear this area so far, which only took about 10 minutes, so I'm hoping another hour or so and we'll get the bulk of all that. There's the compost in the distance, completely unreachable, but the goal is to clear all of this stuff to the black tarps, and then from the black tarp over to the compost to get all of this stuff here gone. And then we can come back through and start worrying about these stalks and stuff that are still pretty bloody strong. But that's not such an issue right now. When we take these up, at least we've already got that nice clear dead patch, and then we'll lay out our tyres. We're thinking now of doing it in an octagon, just so that we've got a bit more strength in the middle. We'll have like a central square which will be quite strong, and then the edges will come off of that. So I think we're going for an octagon now, but if it starts sort of at the start of those weeds there, so that we'll have a clear path behind it so we can get round, get to all the pipe work for the toilet and shower in case anything goes wrong. So we'll start it about there, but it's going to come out to over there somewhere. It's going to span this entire area. It looks huge when you stand here, but it's a 6 metre yurt, so we have to make the octagon sort of 6.5 metres to allow for it to actually fit in the middle. Okay, so the all this tarp that we put down on the first week of January, second week of January, so you might remember from an earlier video, it was really high with the nettles underneath pushing it up. It's gone completely flat now. We've peeked under and we know it's already completely dead anyway, but we're now moving all that out of the way to try and clear up this space here. And I'd imagine we'll have some bright yellow roots desperately trying to find sunlight, but hopefully it'll be pretty clear. Nettles that are growing through it. That's disgusting, but dead. So this was grass and nettles and thistles. It's even killed the thistles, but you can just see the last pissy remnants of thistle. That guy wasn't trying hard enough. There was daylight right there, clearly. Bare hands as well. Yeah. Instant regret. We need 2 really, so you put that one down, then throw the next one down. This is Steve's masterclass in how to crush nettles like a crop circle rather than cutting them all down. How to kill acres of nettles in one go. You could look at that. That is a wall of nettle. It's unbelievable. Rain hampering play. A sad, lonely drip coming through the shed roof. I'm glad I left this overhang actually.
Yeah.
I was going to cut this overhang off, but it's a bit messy, but I might actually keep it for just this sort of occasion. And we will have an overhang all the way out to this end bit of wood at some point, so I can, over our sink that's going to go on the end there. But yeah, this doesn't help. Or does it? Will it soften the soil a bit maybe, make it easier to dig? We've got two, that one there and that one there are our two tyres that are to level, so you can see how much down we need to go with all the rest of them, because that was a low point in the earth already, so we started with that one. We're just about done with that one. You can barely see the tyre, it's so far down, but there is a plank of wood on this side which is covering it up. It's not quite as bad as it looks. We've got another one about to go in there, and that's our square in the middle. We'll get that done today, get them packed, get the timbers on top and cut and sitting in the right place, and then I'm going to have to work my way around the circle and do the other, how many is that, 12? Oh, 8 more, and then there's the 4 more that need to be done on the bathroom bit, but that can happen after the yurt goes up if it has to. So we've got our tyres all laid out, obviously not level. You can see now a bit better, these two are level, that one's nearly level with this one, but it's significantly lower, so I think this one is going to have to be almost on the ground level, which means we're going to have to dig a bit of a trench. I'm loath to bring this up, but I suppose we could pack something under there to raise this up by a couple of inches. Yeah, I think that might be what we do, because that'll save on digging, a lot of digging. Yeah, so that's our goal for today, is these 4, there's a hole there, this one here, get that tyre in the hole, get those 4 level, take them away, get the weed membrane down over the whole place, roll it back up again, and just so it's under these 4 and it's not in the way of everything else, and then backfill these, block them in as tight as we can, and get these timbers. So we've got 2 timbers up here, there's 2 more down the bottom, get them in place, get little half lap joints cut into them, get those 4 solid timber locks in them, and then we've got our base to work off. And then I'm going to have to come along and do the individual little spines that come out from each of those for the octagon, and then we'll do end beams that go from each of these tyres around the edge. One, yeah, that's our extreme, and then this area here, so this is going to be our porch and bathroom there, which is actually fairly big, which I'm pleased with. That's going to be twice the size of that shed, but built up on the decking. A lot of weight in there. Anyway, it's starting to rain a bit more, so I'm going to go back in. Okay, we finally got our 4 main tyres levelled off. These ones here. We've got the weed control fabric underneath here, which is only 1 layer thick, because we only bought, well, we bought 100 meters, but somehow this thing we're making is going to be, with overlap, 100 meters squared worth of material, even though it's only a 6 meter diameter yurt. But we've rolled up the, there we go, rolled up the excess at either end, covered it in rocks just because the wind is picking up. See the trees going for it a bit, and they was blowing around like a sail. So we're now going to backfill these 2 tyres about halfway, get a bit of water on them to let them soak down, tamper it all down, and then do the same over here, more weed control fabric over here, half fill these, tamper them down. By that point we can hopefully come back over there and that will have settled a bit and we can top them up to the top. Repeat. Plan is to get these 4 done today and leveled off, and then we've got these timbers ready to go. There's 2 more timbers down the bottom, and they'll get half laps and placed and screwed, and that is the goal by the end of the day, by the time we go home, to have that all done. So wish us luck. Okay, so we are packing all our tyres out. We've got them as packed as we can, but then we've come along now with a crowbar and we're lifting the edge all the way around. You can see, well, you can't see because we've already started doing it, but the rubber was touching the surface there. We've already lifted it up to that point, and now we're gonna, now that that's at its maximum height, we're gonna go around, tap it all the way around with a sledgehammer to get those stones really wedged in, and then backfill again. And you can see, like, that doesn't look like there's much give there, and then all of a sudden, oh, Oh, it's a hardwood one. Move that down. All of a sudden, you get a good lift out of it, and you can get a bunch more stones under. That's Steve's arm there. I've got 3 arms. Yeah, so we go around. This is tedious. Okay, so we've got our start of our framing. So we've got 4 beams, my shadow, standing on this. We've got the tyres completely packed, bit of damp proof membrane on top of them just to stop the wood making any contact with the dirt below. You can see the nails and stuff in this wood. This is all the original stuff, but it doesn't matter down there. There's a few nails on top I'll trim off with the grinder before we put the deck on it. There's obviously a big expanse in the middle, but there's going to be some smaller joists in the middle once we've got the main frame done. So we've left a massive overhang because these are nearly 4 meters, these planks, and we only needed 3. So we've left a good 40-50 centimeters on each side that will then give us a solid brace to that one, solid brace out there, solid brace out there, solid brace out there, all the way around. So we can get a good few bolts in there then to hold all those together. That's our 8th one there. We've obviously got the ones further out for the bathroom, but they're not as important because we can't do anything until the yurt's up anyway. So yeah, good 2 days work. Can't believe we did it. And it's good and solid. I'll see if I can walk across this while also holding a camera. Ooh. Yep, I can. I was the only thing that wobbled there. The wood's completely solid. So it's 6 inches thick and 6 inches deep, 3 inches thick, and they're about 3 meters 80 ish, but they're all slightly different because they're old timbers that we recovered from the barn. Next stop is to cut these shorter pieces. We've also of course got to go all the way around the edge, but that's not really structural, so I'm wondering now whether I do that with just some cheap timber, some cheap pine or something, because this is the bit that matters. This bit here, I suppose it is structural, but the yurt won't sit there. The yurt will only sit about halfway out there, so we'll see. Might be able to get away with it. Weed matting underneath as well, which is sort of pulled back. That'll unroll all the way out there and unroll all the way under here. So I think my next stop is to do this one because there's no weeds around it. That one's going to be a bit of a bitch because I've got to pull all those weeds out. And then these 2, because they're weed free, that gives me my first 3. That one over there next, so that's half of them are weed free. The other half at the back are full of, actually some of it's grass, so it's not too bad. So that's it. There's Steve clearing up. End of a lovely day. Bit of rain this morning, but turned out like this. So this is why we're moving here. This will be our view from the, whoa, it's difficult turning around on a beam. This will be our view from the window of the yurt about there, which is pretty good. This is about the height the front door will be. So we got quite a lot done last weekend with the tyres. Was it last weekend now? Well, weekend before the one just gone. With my buddy who came down to help. We got 4 tyres down. We got the main 4. There we go. Main 4. Oh, there we go. Tyres down and the 4 beams across. They're the biggest ones. That's the main structural bit that's going to take the bulk of the weight. We are going to put something in the middle as well, just some concrete blocks, something like that. So we're currently middle of June. We've got until the 2nd of July is the day we're putting our yurt up. We've already arranged for a lot of friends to come and to be here for that. So we have to turn this into a full decking. So luckily I've got my dad coming down this week and he's going to help with the decking itself, which we're actually using plywood instead of decking because decking is extraordinarily expensive, it turns out. We could do it for plywood for still 600 and something pounds worth of ply, whereas it was going to be a couple of £1,000 if we did it with proper decking board. I think it's going to be okay. We're going to do a lot of joists in between. We've got a lot of wood down there in the barn and this is the opportunity to just use it up and get it out of the way before we start the build. So this thing's going to be rock solid and weigh a ton. That's why it's not actually bolted down or anything, it's just the weight of the wood on the tyres. We're probably going to add some extra tyres or at least some concrete blocks because we have a lot of concrete blocks to get rid of as well, so we may as well pack it all out. So this is my second day. I'm just getting some weed control fabric down. Just turn the camera around. Okay, so I'm just getting some weed control fabric down, which you can see there. So there's a circle there you can see, which is for this tyre, and there's a spray painted circle there, so I need to level that out to get this tyre on. This material will then go underneath both of them and overlap. It needs to come this way, and there it goes in the wind. It needs to come this way a good foot at least and overlap here. I've got some tent pegs I'm going to use to hold that down, but for the time being I'll do what I've done with these and just roll it back and pin it down with rocks so that it's in place but it's not in the way. This tears really easily as well, so this way it doesn't get damaged. That pile there is entirely nettle roots that we've pulled out from all of that, completely nettle roots that we've pulled out from underneath where we're putting the fabric down. Now the whole point of the fabric is it suppresses the weeds, but some of these, I mean, you can see from here where the stalks of the nettles that we cut down are, they're ridiculous, and they actually pierce the fabric as soon as you put it down. So best course of action, ripple that shit out, and then hopefully nothing else will grow in underneath there. By the time we move this away again, it should be nice and ready for veg to go in, because all the weeds will be long dead. Okay, tyre number 5 is in. Original 4, 5th one. There's my little quarry I've got going on here. Got the fabric laid down as well. It goes up to level with that, so that when we put this cross beam in here to kind of part of the octagon, we'll fold that back over and we'll have a nice sort of weed free area underneath. More material here that goes all the way out as far as that one there. Same thing, we'll fold that over diagonally between these two. This one I was hoping to get dug out, but it's getting on a bit, so I'll call it a day for today. Get home while it's still daylight. I've got a friend coming to help on Saturday, so that, well, this one I'll hopefully get done on Thursday, so that'll be this end nicely done. I've got a beam on here as well, and I've got the beam ready to go for this one. And then on Sunday my dad gets here, we'll probably try and do a few more of those tyres if they're not done yet. Monday we get the delivery of plywood, so Monday morning we want to get cracking getting all these cross beams in. I want to have as many of these done as possible before then anyway. Kind of doing them as I go, so get a tyre in and get the beam across. So once I get this tyre in here, I'll get that beam across there, and then I'll notch them out and get one running between the two, and it just helps to strengthen the whole thing as much as possible. I look very red in this. That's some sunburn coming through. So that is the end of this week's roundup. I'm going to try and do these once a week because there's actually stuff happening now. We've got our planning permission, which I don't think we've actually said yet, but we'll do a proper video about that. And the list of jobs is now endless for the next 18 months or 2 years, so I'll keep these videos coming. Bye.